Hello and welcome. I'm Master Lama Rasaji, and this is our Friday Shangri-La version of Rasaji Speaks. I hope you've had a great week as we're in the final week before Christmas. Don't forget that you can gift a membership to your families and loved ones for less than 50 cents a day. And they can be live like this afternoon at 1 o'clock with Lama G for about an hour and a half to about an hour and 45 minutes. We always have a spiritual message. We cover topics that's going on in the world, and we always have at least a half an hour of Q&A so that you have a chance to directly ask Lama G a question. If you stop by, let us know it's your first time. We'd sure appreciate it. Today's title is The Impact of Advent. What is the impact of Advent to the world? Ever thought about that? It's an interesting concept when you think about it. Let's look to mass consciousness. For the most part, it's what the Lamasery calls the unbridled mind of mass consciousness. It's amazing when you look at how the mind really works, which is chapter 2 of The Circle of Chi, which is also a great book for present for your family for holidays, especially with the DVD, because it has also everything written, but plus some of our exercises are in that. Great Christmas gift. But think about it. We talk about bridling your mind and using the discipline to get what you want out of life and get to where you want to go in life. That's what it's all about. That's what it all starts. But most of the world's not into praying like you do, brothers and sisters. They don't have a clue what spiritual exercises and siddhanas are. But still, a powerful seed thought. I want you to think about this, right? There's almost 1 billion Catholics in the world. That's right. There's over 2 billion people who basically turn to Jesus the Christ. Lamasery refers to him as Master Rabbi Jesus, and even Nicodemus and Joseph of Athenia called him Rabbi. So rabbi is teacher in Hebrew, right? Teacher, teacher, master, master. Master teacher is reverence to him because without a doubt, he was an extreme master, right? According to Holy Scriptures, he was the first awoken of the Holy Spirit. Without a doubt, one of the 120 avatars. You know this because you're with us for months or several years, but most of the world doesn't know that. Most of the world either grew up in a Christian household, went to church maybe during Christmas, on Easter. That's the bulk of Christians, right? But just think about that, right? Peace on earth and goodwill to all is what we are talking during Advent, what is being preached from the pulpit. It's interesting, right? Peace on earth. When give power to peace is what the practice of Tai Chi Gong is. And the mantra, Om Shanti, 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 Shanti. In Hebrew, they say Shalom. We say peace in English. It's interesting. It's really, really, really powerful. But what kind of impact does 40 days of Advent have? 40 days. It starts right after Thanksgiving in America for Americans, but it's most of December and leading up to Christmas Eve and the North Star, right? The Star of David, honoring that lineage, right? So, what impact is it actually having? You might be surprised, but almost all Christians, and I would safe to say about half of humanity on the planet, about 4 billion of the 8 billion people, are deeply impacted during this Advent season. A lot of people pretend not to be, but they really, really are. Why is that significant? Well, the 40 days of Advent and the 40 days of Lent that has a lot to do with release and forgiveness and transformation. See, to our people, we know the baby Christ is born inside of us. But it's not only talking about the first birth of Jesus, nor is it talking about your birth of water, but it's the question that Nicodemus asked in the Gospel of John, right? Where he says, how do I enter a mom's belly? And Jesus says to Nicodemus, you must be born of the Spirit. You're born of the water of your mother. You're born of the holy fire of your father. The ancient city yogas referred to that as Kundalini. So it's very interesting, really, when you even take baptism in the church and really what it kind of means. It's supposed to initiate the Kundalini, the second birth. And to a real pious Christian who's being a minister by a very pious priest or minister or pastor, it still can be the beginning of that transformation. But here at COC, we feather the flame, if you will. That's right. The bellows. You know, if I'm up north and there's a fireplace, I've got a bellows which pushes air into the coals that are kind of dying out, and you're getting those coals because when oxygen hits fire, bingo, presto, right? So it's very interesting. But what I'm trying to lay out for you is that there's about 1% of those 2 to 4 billion people that know what's really going on, knows that it's not only the birth of Jesus, that's the physical manifestation, but it's the birth of Christ, the second birth that's in you. That's the real deal, right? The beginning of your spiritual life. In Hebrew, they called it the time of bar mitzvah. And that's why young gentlemen received the bar mitzvah during the early adolescence, whereas a Catholic receives communion. Very interesting. You can see the connection between the two. But according to the lamasery in Tibet, the whole world is impacted by the collective unconsciousness. In other words, people who don't bridle their mind, but if they have any form of emotional connection to how powerful Christmas Eve, a lot of times they're sitting there reflecting their youth. Did they go to church during that time? Did they believe in Santa Claus? What was Christmas like? What was the traditions of their household? And how did it evolve to mean this? And the reason that happens is that there is a great time for a spiritual awakening to happen in the soul of these people. That's why during Advent and Lent, Lamaji takes the time and emphasizes in our webinars and in Rasaji Speaks, right? And the new message that will be coming from the Lamasery in the light of truth from that, which is getting ready to happen. This is why we do that, so that you'll have a deeper understanding, that you can share this understanding with your family and friends. So let's say that your New Jerusalem, which is basically your network that you are in response to every month. Our network is between 300 and 3,000 people right now. We're a small to medium sized network. Some people, maybe that's 3 people. Some people are social misfits. They're scared to get out of their house. A lot of our group, that's 30 to 500 people. They have a fair, significant network. And when you share with them what you're learning here and the precepts, then they have a deeper meaning of what Advent is. They understand that Jesus is kind of the leader of a spiritual family. Nobody really tells them that. He's one of the main leaders of this spiritual family, first woken of the Holy Spirit. We were with him in the beginning as the Spirit of truth. Who was the Spirit of truth? What is that number? Revelations makes that clear as Jesus's epistle to John the Beloved on the island of Patmos, and that is 144,000. Not 144,000 that will be saved, but 144,000 that are the first woken of the Holy Spirit. Some of those 144,000 will graduate one day to avatar themselves. Who are we? Who gives us our walking papers? And what are we really supposed to do? Right? We're supposed to be the physical angels on earth, behind the scenes, getting everything done, working with the angels of heaven, and we're the angels on earth. And together, this camaraderie of the 144,000 will shine this light inside each and every one of us. This is Lama Chi saying, Baraka Bashad, as we say in Tibet. It means, may the blessings be to you and to your glorious family. I hope this is the greatest and deepest understanding of Advent that you've ever had. If it is, mention it in the comment section today. Let people know how much being at the Circle of Chi has enlightened you about Advent and about Lent, and how it's more special to you than it's ever before. I know, following the path of the Siddha Yoga masters laid down by the 18 Siddhas, that it has mean an enormous enrichment to Lama Ji over my 56, almost 57 years of training. God be with us all. Emmanuel, well. Love you much. See you soon.